So we just got back from the Children's. We have not been there for 2 years since our daughter was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes back in January 2022. Pretty crazy and ironic because there was another little kid there that was type 1 diabetic that was there kind of for the same issue. And typically they never see kids come back in or have to be hospitalized for an extended amount of time after that initial diagnosis. So what had happened is Friday at 4 a.m., our daughter had sat up out of bed and just threw up everywhere. She threw up like 15 times in a 4-hour period. Then she fell asleep from like that 8 o'clock till noon, and then it was just ongoing where she didn't feel good. We tried giving her what was prescribed as Zofran to help with the nausea and vomiting. We thought it was working. Well, at 10 o'clock at night, that night, on Friday, everything that she had throughout the day earlier came back up, and then we had to go into the hospital here where we live. We were in there from 10 o'clock on till 4:30 in the morning, like very little sleep, maybe 3 hours. And so it was already a long night. We thought we were good. She got a bunch of fluids. They didn't give her any of the sugar water. It was just the standard saline, 300 milliliters, I believe, 2 bags of it. And then they sent us home. Her ketones were 4+. I was irate after seeing that because, for one, they shouldn't have discharged us like that. And then to say to resume your normal diet. Well, to get rid of ketones, you need carbs, you need insulin, and you need to hydrate. They, I guess, covered the hydration. As far as the carbs and everything, that obviously was on us, but we went in initially because of the vomiting and then the other GI symptoms. So everything was either coming up one way or out the other. After the weekend, we went into the Children's Hospital. What they had done there, we went into the emergency room first, standard protocol, and then from there we got moved up to a room. Reason we went down to the Children's Hospital is because the very little bit of sleep from not being able to get our daughter's blood sugar up. It was like she was not type 1 diabetic at all. I went to Caribou, got a smoothie, large one for her, thinking, great, this will be awesome, and the cookies and cream. I spent like $50 there, spent another $50 at McDonald's, basically bought all the unhealthy foods that a type 1 diabetic shouldn't have because of the carb count, and for one, it's not healthy anyway. And it hits her usually quickly. So what had happened is we tried that 137 gram smoothie from Caribou. It did not even move her blood sugar at all. I was to the point where I was freaking out. I was on very little sleep, and we tried everything. We tried pop, we tried juice, we tried high carb milk, we tried cookies, that smoothie, we tried McDonald's even. Nothing was bringing her blood sugar up. If it did, it went like 2 points and then it went back down. So we were basically fighting a low. I was to the point of exhaustion. I'm like, we need to just go to the Children's. We're not going back to the ER here. They don't know what they're doing. They don't have enough expertise in that area of diabetes. So we had gone down to the Children's Hospital, and we were admitted there for the 2 nights. They had given her a bunch of fluids, IV with the sugar water. It's actually called dextrose, which was through the IV. So at the first ER, they had already done an IV of fluid that Friday into Saturday night. And then they had done a blood draw on the other arm, which is, great considering, you would have thought that they could have figured out what was going on. So that was Friday into Saturday, and then Monday we had to go down to the Children's because I was done. I couldn't handle anymore. I wanted answers. It was scary. It was like she wasn't type 1 diabetic, but her ketone levels were through the roof. So basically what had happened is it's like a starvation decay from her body not being able to elevate her blood sugar enough to where she could get carbs. It was from the vomiting, the diarrhea, all of that. So basically they diagnosed it as gastroenteritis. Her GI system was upset and nothing was making it happy. So we're at almost a week from the first initial time when she got sick, and we're still struggling to get her blood sugar up. and keep it up. So we've had to change her carb count. I mean, everything is completely different as far as how much we're dosing and when. Also how much she's eating, and the insulin dose that we actually give her is a lot less than what we first had initially done before this GI upset. And then everything that she's consuming, what we were told by multiple providers is it's just taking longer for her body to absorb or react to the carbs that she's getting because of this GI issue that's going on. It is very rare for this to happen, is what they said, and it's very dangerous. Usually when a kid that is type 1 diabetic is sick, they have it to where their blood sugar spikes. Like we had it when she had COVID, when she had influenza, when she had strep, I mean, any of that, blood sugar was spiking. So this was really, really scary when blood sugars were dropping. So I wanted to make this video just to tell you guys about our experience and what had happened, and so that if this ever happens to you or your child that has type 1 and you're having that issue where their blood sugar is low and it's just not going and they're throwing up and they have GI upset issues and everything's running through them one way or the other, then that would be a good idea to look into. Not saying that it is that, but the GI upset is, I guess, a lot more difficult. And then when you get those starvation ketones, it's a lot harder to raise that blood sugar, get that up where it needs to be. Rather than if you have ketones from being high, you can dose that insulin to get it down. Whereas if you're low, you can't give insulin until you get those carbs up and that blood sugar raised. I hope this helps anyone that might have a child that goes through this, or if you have a child that's type 1 diabetic, at least you have this in the back of your head so you know what to do if this were to ever happen.